and welcome back to another episode of Tunes of the Time. Today we are going to be doing the 2000s to 2010, and again with me I have my co-host Lee, and let's just hop right into it. The first album we have is The College Dropout by Kanye West. Do you have any comments on this to start?
As we see here, this is his debut album, and from our last episode, he was also in the top 10. So I'm really excited to kind of listen to the difference in his music in 2 decades to see where he started and, where he landed for our last list. So the song we're going to be listening to today to start off for this album is Slow Jams.
Alright, so that was that Slow Jams?
Yeah.
Slow Jams by Kanye West. That's the only one I actually knew by title off of the album. I have listened to the full album before, but this is really only the ones that I guess I connected with. I definitely like his later albums more. I don't mind this sound. But I guess when I go to listen to Kanye, this isn't the songs that I usually go towards.
Yeah, I think we can really hear the difference in his sound from where he started. And again, like we talk about him always kind of evolving what he sounds like, what he's trying to produce or put out there, and you can really see the difference. But this makes me think of, or like is more reminiscent again of his other albums and his other songs, like, Graduation and other songs like that. He had more of an R&B kind of feel, and you can kind of hear that in this kind of music that he's putting out early on. And yeah, it's cool to see his evolution of music.
Yeah, that's for sure.
And I think through his music you can tell that he does music and he produces music.
Yeah, it's kind of cool to see too, like in this decade he was in number 10, and then in the last episode we covered he was actually in number 1 for 2010 to 2020. Let's move on to the next one here. Next we have Kala or Kayla by M.I.A.
Yes. And the song that we're going to be listening to, I think we have all heard. It's Paper Planes. That song takes me way back. You know, I haven't heard
Yeah.
that in a long time, but I remember a time when the song played on the radio constantly everywhere you went. I think like everybody knew this song.
Yeah, what year did this one come out again?
This song 2016.
No, I don't.
Actually, let me
I think
see.
that's just the video.
Yeah.
Because I know, like, it's obviously, yeah, 2007.
2007. Yeah.
Wow.
Very catchy song, and yeah, it doesn't feel like it was from 2007. That's such a long time ago.
Yeah, I mean, I do kind of remember the times, like, because in those times, like, it's such a long time from now, I was literally hanging out with completely different friends, doing completely different things, completely different stage in my life. We brought it up in the first episode, but it's kind of nice, like, when you go through these and then you get to experience, like, the memories that you had with all these albums and songs along the way. It's always good for the nostalgia.
Yeah, that's what I think I look for in a lot of songs as well, is like what memories I have connected with it, or where I could see myself, you know, kind of listening to the song, like, you know, what scenarios the song would be good for. And that song just takes me back to, you know, a simpler time, definitely.
Yeah.
And the description a little bit for this album is the London via Sri Lanka art punk funketeer came on like she knew she was kind of a big deal, and it didn't take her long to convince everyone in earshot. On her second album, she restyled hip-hop as one big international block party, mixing up a whole sound clash of beatboxing rhythms, playground rhymes, left-field samples, and gunshots.
Oh yeah, that was a classic from Paper Planes, those gunshots that go with the chorus.
And now I think we're going to be moving on to our next song. We are on number 8, and it is Bob Dylan, Modern Times. The song we will be playing is Someday Baby.
Alright, let's hear it. Yeah, so this album even I can say I don't think I have heard before. I've listened to a lot of Bob Dylan, but just the older stuff mainly. Haven't actually heard of this album.
Yeah, I haven't heard much of Bob Dylan myself, but you know, for listening to him right now, like this kind of music you don't hear anymore.
Yeah, he has that old like folk rock and that unique Bob Dylan vocal tone that you can almost spot every time. Do you want to read some of the description?
Yeah, they say for this album, except for the curious reference to Alicia Keys in Thunder on the Mountain, these 10 songs of gnarly jump and grind, sung with scoured growl of a drifting cowboy, sounded like Bob Dylan could have cut them 50 years earlier with Muddy Waters Band and written with them 20 years before that. So again, yeah, that's what we were saying, right? It sounds like something from the past, right? Like they say.
Yeah. What else does it say here? Yeah, I'll definitely have to listen to more of that album. When did that one come out?
And this song, or this album, came out in... ...2006.
Oh, wow. Yeah. I know he's... Let's see here. Sorry about the dead air here, folks. Yeah, he's still playing. Yeah, he's 80 years old now.
That's incredible.
Yeah. Active from 1961 to present.
Wow.
So, it's quite the track record. A lot of rewards. Pretty iconic in, different, like, political issues and social issues as well.
And rightfully so landed on top 10 for the 2000s.
Is it this one? No. Okay, so we'll move on to the next one here. The next album is the Marshall Mathers LP by Eminem. So for this album, I actually don't think I heard it when it first came out. But again, it's one of those albums I bought and just had in my car all the time. Listened to it probably 1,000 times. And this was one of my favorite songs from it. It's the album title song. Yeah, so very expletive, that's for sure. Classic Eminem style.
Whenever I think of Eminem, I think he has a rap voice that you could tell it is him in like any song. You know, you would never mistake him for anybody else.
Yeah.
And it's his tone of voice, how fast he raps. Like it's
Yeah.
very distinctly Eminem.
Yeah. And the way he can like bend vowels I think that's the way he describes it, is like there's this classic interview where he says he hates how people say nothing rhymes with orange, and he basically stretches vowels like door hinge on the end of this floor. I forget what else he says. I actually just watched that the other day. Funny enough. But yeah, like he just shows you like there's so many more ways you can go about rapping and rhyming that you don't think about at face value, but then when you think of it that way, like
it's all about like exploring and kind of pushing the boundaries of like what you thought,
putting your own spin on the style or genre that you're in, and then yeah, that's part of why like his voice is just so distinct. You hear him and you know right away. Have you heard much of this album at all?
No, I haven't heard much of this album, but my best friend, back in grade school, Eminem was his favorite rapper, so I'm sure I've heard of this before.
Yeah.
But definitely. No, I distinctly can't pick out a certain song that I remember from this album.
And what number are we on?
We are on number 7.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense to me. Like, again, I didn't listen to it at the time, but from what else I've seen, like, number 7 makes sense.
And this is early on in his career, right?
Somewhat. This is 2007. I believe his first album was 1996 or so.
Oh, wow.
Or maybe even a bit before. Sometime around there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he had been active for a little bit. But he dealt with a lot of, like, kind of backlash in the scene. Because, like, there was the whole thing with Dr. Dre where Dre wanted to put him on, but everyone that was around Dre, like, was starting to cut ties with him because they thought he was just empowering this wannabe rapper, basically. Nobody saw him as, like, fitting the image or fitting the scene, so it took a while for him to be accepted.
And he's had albums come out recently as well, right?
Yeah, still active. I forget when the last project was. I believe it was earlier this year or last year, though. I think he came out with something. Yeah, but still very active. Like, always coming out with new music. Should we move on to the next one here? Alright, so next we have Funeral by Arcade Fire. That's the album. And this one stands out to me. Did you listen to this at all?
No, I didn't listen a lot to this album.
No? Arcade Fire, even?
No, I'm not a big Arcade Fire fan. I can't say that, but I'm interested to see what this album is about. Anything you want to say about this before we start?
Yeah, so I knew a little bit about this album. I don't think so much when it first came out. Again, it's another album I was late to. But the song that we're actually going to play here, Wake Up, from their album Funeral, it was in the movie Where the Wild Things Are. I forget, it might be the intro, like, theme song or just part of the movie. I forget what part it's in, but I know it was in the soundtrack, and as soon as I got home from the movie, I looked it up and, like, tried to figure it out, and somehow found it on YouTube or some other service, and then, yeah, found this whole album, listened through everything, and became a pretty big Arcade Fire fan for a little bit. I don't listen to them as much now, but definitely before.
So this is Wake Up by Arcade Fire.
Alright, what did you think?
I think that's a really amazing sounding song. Like, I can imagine that in, like, so many different movie scenes. Like, I know you said that you saw it for Where the Wild Things Are. Yeah, I could imagine that, like, you know, in a graduation scene or something. Like, yeah. How about you?
Yeah, I really like this song. What's cool about this song being with the movie, too, is they both sort of follow the theme of not wanting to grow older, and just sort of how, like, childhood is precious, I guess. Yeah, And like I was obviously a kid when I was introduced to the movie and this song, so
And the song wasn't written for the movie, right?
no, it was out previous.
So that's cool that, you know, they kind of synchronized in a way, even though it wasn't written for the movie, but you said it blends so well for their meaning.
Yeah, the film came out in 2009, and then this album came out in 2004. Yeah, 2004. So, a little bit of time apart. Again, I don't even think I'd heard of Arcade Fire previously. Maybe a song or two, but yeah, it was really the movie that turned me onto this song and this album for sure.
It's cool to see it to see it on the top 10 for the 2000s.
Yeah.
And now moving on to our next album, we have The White Stripes Elephant. And the song we'll be listening to is Seven Nation Army.
This is a classic. Yeah, that's a really good song. I can't say I listened to this album a lot, but I've definitely listened to a lot of Jack White and the White Stripes.
In this song, the beginning is the bass guitar.
Yeah.
Is it? I was like, anybody who learns the bass guitar, I imagine like that's probably one of like the first things you play and
Yeah,
stuff on
even
it.
guitar, it's a pretty popular riff to learn because it's simple but like has a lot of groove to it. So it's definitely a popular one.
Yeah, and I think everybody has heard of this song, or at least like in a movie or something.
Yeah, that's another thing. This song is in a lot of movies. There's fight scenes, chase scenes, all that. I'm just trying to see here. Yeah, I can't say I know too many. I know Black Math, I believe, from this album. In the Cold, Cold Night. But I'm not sure about the others. Oh, Hypnotize, I believe I've heard. Did you listen to much of them growing
No,
up
I
or
didn't
anything?
listen to much of the White Stripes, but through doing this and getting to see these albums, it's cool to be introduced to, again, all this kind of music. You kind of want to listen to this after and listen to the full album to see what all the songs are about.
Yeah. Their song, Icky Thump, I remember hearing that on Much Music, like as a kid. And that's what turned me on to them. Like, the video for the song itself was insane. And then, the song itself was also just crazy. The guitar tone and sound that Jack White gets in that. And even here, like in this song, great tone and just rock feel. Should we move on?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was a good fifth album for the top 10. And now we're moving on to the fourth album. It is Jay-Z, The Blueprint.
Yeah, so here we'll be playing Renegade. It's featuring Eminem, actually. And we'll just hop right into it. Have you heard that one before?
No, I don't think I'm very familiar with that one.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the more known ones off of this album. And this album itself is very iconic.
And I see even Kanye West is on this album as well with Jay-Z.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of good features. Q-Tip, Slick Rick, Keon Bryce, Kanye, yeah.
And Jay-Z produces music, right?
I believe he does. I actually don't know too much about that. But yeah, he's very involved in a lot of like his production. Just trying to see here. Yeah, it doesn't say there. But Jay-Z, just iconic in every album that he does.
Yeah, and we talked about him on the last podcast, being a powerhouse with Beyonce. I think their names are known worldwide, and that's definitely represented.
Yeah, definitely. He had number 4 here?
Yeah.
Yeah. And was she number 2?
Yes, I believe she was number 2.
Yeah, so both of them showcasing what they have.
And now moving on to our number 3 for this list.
It's a Yankee Hotel Foxtrot by Wilco. Have you heard much Wilco before?
No, I haven't.
No?
No.
I've heard a little bit about them. In my ensemble last year, Max actually wanted to do a tune by them, and we ended up doing that. And yeah, I guess we didn't play live at all last year. It was just all recorded remotely from each other. So, and it ended up sounding pretty good, but it's never ends up being quite as tight, I find, unless you're working with a lot of really skilled musicians.
I'm excited to hear a little bit about this of this album.
Yeah, so here we're gonna listen to Camera by Wilco, and here we go. Alright, what are your thoughts on that one?
I can see why you guys wanted to do a song for your ensemble last year for this. That song makes me feel like really kind of nice inside, kind of happy.
Yeah, it reminds me of like being, like it's not country music, but it reminds me of being like in the country or like
listening to
by
this
water
in like the summer, right?
Yeah, at the cottage or something. Yeah, it gives you that nice, just warm, homey feeling. The lead singer has like that really soft, kind of lower vocal tone that is just soothing. It's not like putting you to sleep fully. Like there's still energy to the song, but it's just super relaxing.
Yeah, this is a song I could see myself like, walking to, enjoying, like, when it's nice out. What would you say the genre of this kind of music would be?
Um, I'd say it's like folk. Yeah, folk rock. Yeah, folk rock probably.
Yeah, I don't hear a lot of that, like, on the radio and stuff, so I just wanted
Yeah,
to.
not so much anymore. I mean, it's still in some places. Um, Especially with having Neil Young, like there's a pretty big culture of like folk rock musicians
Yeah.
and stuff in Canada. Um, I can't remember where Wilco is from. I think they're from the States. Um, oh, whoops. Yeah, an American. Oh, they say alternative rock band here. From Chicago, Illinois.
The band was formed in 1994. Wow.
Hmm.
And they come at number 3 on our list.
Yeah.
Now we're down to the last two, and number 2 on the list is now The Strokes. Is This It?
And the song we're going to be playing is Last Night. This is one of my favorites, that's for sure. Do you know that one?
No, I can't say I know The Strokes by songs or their albums, but they're always a group that when I do hear a song, I always really do like their songs.
Yeah, they have that signature, like, kind of grungy pop punk rock.
Not something that we hear very much of now.
No, again, like around this time, 2000 and 2010, yeah, this stuff was all over the radio. But not so much anymore. You hear a lot more like um, hip hop, like R&B and rap.
But I know, like,
even
The Strokes.
electronic music a
Yeah.
lot on the radio now.
But The Strokes, I know that they were huge before, right?
Yeah, still pretty big. I believe they still tour. I'm not 100% on that, but I know they did a show somewhat recently. I think it was in 2017.
Huh.
Yeah, in Toronto.
But yeah, I think they're definitely an iconic band.
Yeah.
And they come at number 2 on the Rolling Stones list.
So moving on, we're going to go to our number 1 here. And one of my favorites, especially the album, is Kid A by Radiohead. Have you listened to much Radiohead before?
I've heard obviously some of their iconic songs, but I haven't listened too much to Radiohead.
Yeah, they were a band I maybe around grade 9 or 10, I found them, and then, like I had originally heard Creep, actually, from playing Rock Band.
I think, yeah, everyone has heard of that song. Yeah, very iconic song.
And then sort of, like, didn't look too much into them after hearing that. But then, yeah, grade 9 or 10, I had a friend that was super into them, and we were actually doing music stuff together. So then he was like, yo, you should check these guys out. And it was a deep dive that still to this day, like, I think I have half or more of their discography always downloaded and constantly in rotation.
And today we'll be listening to How to Disappear Completely. We actually listened to the song the other day.
Yeah, I love this song, love this album. Radiohead altogether, just so good. Some other notable ones off of this album are Everything in Its Right Place, Kid A, Optimistic, In Limbo, Idiotech, Motion Picture, basically the whole thing. Motion Picture soundtrack. Yeah.
Very sad music, though, from
Very
my
sad.
perspective, at least.
Definitely not advised to listen to all the time, but when you're in a mood or you're just feeling it, it's definitely great. I find it's good late night music, especially the ones that aren't so sad, because they have the ones that are just straight sad, and then they have a lot that are just slower and even faster songs, but the ones that are slower are nice at night, like No Surprises. Even motion picture soundtrack from this album, that's a nice one to end your day with. Anything else you have to say about this one?
It says here that there's a quote: music as a lifelong commitment. If that's what someone means by rock, great, York said in the 2000 interview. But by that measure, with Kid A, Radiohead made the first true rock of the future.
Wow. Yeah, Tom York, the guy they're talking about there, that's Tom York, their lead singer. He's sort of the brains behind their whole thing. The guitarist is very good too, but I believe a lot of the lyrics and song structure itself, like the piano parts and everything, the synths too, are a lot of Tom's work.
I love the synth sound in their music. And just going through this whole list of top 10s for the 2000s, I'm already excited to, listen to the full albums after we're finished this podcast.
Yeah. I guess there's one thing I wanted to ask in the last one that I think would be cool to do at the end here. Is there anything on the list here that you would want to see higher or lower?
Very good question. Ooh. I'll let you go first, I guess, because you have, or you thought of it. I need a little bit more time, I think, to kind of look through.
I mean, I don't know if it's just my bias, but I feel like the Kanye one could be higher than 10. And even the Jay-Z could be higher than 4. But I mean, 4 is still pretty good. And the ones above him are pretty solid. I really didn't know Wilco was this successful that they would be number 3. Like, maybe that's just my ignorance of not knowing their success, but that's one that definitely surprised me.
Yeah, for me, I think, I don't know, something about, what when we listen to the White Stripes, that song, very popular song, I think, anybody knows that song. And
Yeah, I think that single did really well.
Yeah.
Though. That song by itself, I think it's just the whole album didn't hold up as well compared to some of the other ones on the list here.
But all in all, I think these albums all, hold up to the test of time. I would listen to these albums now, and I think we both enjoyed all of the songs that we've listened to so far.
Yeah, we said that a lot last episode, and those ones were more recent, so it makes more sense. But yeah, with even a lot of these albums, you could release them today and they would do just as well.
And it was a cool kind of trip down memory lane to kind of listen to these albums and these songs and go back to the 2000s. And we hope that you enjoyed going back to the 2000s with us today too.
Yeah, hope you guys enjoyed it today, and thanks for tuning in to episode 2. Have a great night. Hope to see you next time.